back, everybody, to the LPL as we head towards our 5th game of the day. It's LGD 1-0 up against BLG. Who could have seen this coming, Nymeara?
Well, I mean, it depends if you believed in whether we were going to get that tiebreaker scenario. If only WE had won that first series, we would potentially be at a point now. If BLG wake up and take the series, we would have had a tiebreaker. Of course, not to be. The pressure is off now in this series, but an LGD really flourished under that. Very different drafts, though, coming in for Game 2.
Some LGD signs in the crowd as well, which is always good to see. As our draft now, it's going to be Haichao bringing the Jace alongside a Lilia. We've got a Draven down bot for Shaoye. We've got a Yone out from Night Shun on the Zyra. This is a pretty hype draft.
Yeah, and we have Game Sound back. It's returned. We've got it. We hear everything. Sometimes I sat there, so for a lot of the casts which I did in the start of my career, there wasn't going to say Game Sound for them anyway. It's a bit nostalgic for you going, oh yes, I have to use my eyes a lot more again. The ears shall not provide you that extra information. I did miss it though, just a little bit.
So, do you know, I think that Draven skin is called Soul Reaver, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's holding 2 Essence Reavers, if I'm not mistaken. Here we go, aggression on the bottom side. BLG start strong as Shaoye and JinJiao get sent packing. This is not your lane.
And even though Draven started with 2 Essence Reavers at level 1, can't get himself the kills there. We don't see too much of the Kalista Renata anymore. It feels like that's fallen off a lot, but it has come back a little bit within both LPL and LCK in recent series, particularly in the LPL it was missing, and it's come back for a couple of our players. Alkanon were the best lane at playing out this duo in the LPL when they had that early lane advantage. They get themselves some advantages at level 1. This already feels like how BLG would win back in spring, and that should really terrify LGD.
It really should. And this is Knight's 600th game in the LPL as well, which is crazy to think about. It's not that long ago that he was the new young prodigy. Well, actually, I guess it is that long ago now. That's sort of the point of 600 games.
You're showing your age there,
It just
Joe.
doesn't feel that long ago since he joined Top Esports. But, yeah, as you say, I mean, when you think of Renata these days, the player that I think of is On. He is the Renata player in my mind, or at least the first one that comes to my mind. I'm always excited to see on this pick. It's such a powerful pick in the right draft, and it does feel like this is a composition from LGD that does want to go forwards, and Renata really excels in that kind of matchup.
And also, when you have the lane dominance of this pick, and you have a jungler that clears in under 3 minutes to get towards bot side, it really helps you get this wave crash. And look for this kind of dive. They're still level 1, looking for level 2.
Flash from JinJiao. Shaoye taking a big old chunk as Shun sort of in a 2v1, but Shaoye can't get involved, to be honest. And Meteor sent packing. The redive potentially could come through for BLG here. Shaoye desperately trying to farm as much of this wave as he physically can, but he's taking so much threat of the poke here. The plants come back in once again. Shaoye under the tower. Elk hunting for the QE. It hits onto JinJiao. Bit of sustain from the Alistair is going a long way here. Those plants continue to get hits in. On looking under the tower. Shaoye flashes with his first blood for Elk as JinJiao now alone underneath the tower. The Hawk finds him, the minions can't quite finish the kill. I don't even think On was ready for that to hit, but On flashes for a kill of his own, and now it's Meteor alone under the tower. Will it ever end? Meteor, 1 HP, and Shun goes down. Meteor turns it around onto one, and On falls as well. Wait, it was an execute onto Shun?
Huh? So it ends up being a 3-for-1 in the bot side. BLG, how did they win in spring? They got themselves the kill lanes, bot lane. They dove at level 3, and they put you into the dirt. They bring it back out in summer. It's been a less played for win condition throughout group stage with BLG. We were asking if they were if they'd been a little bit too disrespectful. Do they need to wake up? I think they've started things off well in the early game to make sure they can put LGD into the dirt. I mean, one of the big things which happens here is on the Zyra, often a really underutilized thing is using your E plants to get the slow. Right here, Shaoye tries to flash out, but he's already got the slow tagged onto him from those plants, and he can't get away in time. Don't think it would have mattered anyway, regardless of that. And then the redive is just an absolute mess. I was like, yeah, I can get this one. Use that E, kills him mid-flight through that headbutt combo. This was probably a kill too far, but hey, at least one of them was an execute.
And I guess the logic was On trying to tank the tower using his the chemicals, just pumping himself.
Yes, the bailouts.
Yeah, that's the one. I just went for chemicals instead, but didn't quite work out for them. Luckily for them, Shun got executed, so Meteor only actually gets 1 kill out of it. So ends up being slightly behind because Shun still ahead in terms of just jungle clear at this point. Meteor trying to close that gap as Shun grabs himself that scuttle crab and maybe looks towards mid lane. Yeah. But Haichao's pretty far pushed up.
He is, but he's safe here. And, you know, it really is the danger days when you need to have a My Chemical Romance to tank up a tower like that. On, we'll be using that Ronaldo a little bit better too. Into the team fights later on to see if he can get that big kill pressure, not just from laning phase, but into the team fights later on. I feel like when you've got this kind of composition where everyone wants to be stood behind the K'Sante and the Alistar, the Renata ult is really hard to deny.
It really is. We'll see how On is able to use that ability later on. But I will say, 2,000 gold lead at 6 minutes, that's not too shabby for BLG, is it? Basically double CS for Elk in the bot lane as well. Swirl Seed goes in. Obviously, Meteor is level 6, but would have been difficult to follow up on that one. Shun, in the meantime, just absolutely destroying these grubs. Zyra does the neutral so damn fast. It's scary.
Yes, and Zyra already has one of their huge power spikes in the game. Much like Rumble, you get pen boots. Wow, this champion does damage. Of course, Rumble doesn't even go for them anymore, but Zyra's kept towards the tried and true in terms of that. Clears out the grubs, so quick towards the bot side, can even maybe contest for this dragon. Has that water walking too. Water walking tier 2 boots. Shun's here.
Shun's made it to the Drake and LGD. Peel off in the end. On looking for an engage. The plants come out. Shaoye kicked out of the play. The roots come out as well from Shun, the ultimate there, but it's not going to find the knock-up, not going to find more kills, but it will find themselves a Drake.
Yeah, no, Shun, I'm really impressed with how he very quickly gets himself to the play, goes to the grubs, understands that without the Dark Harvest page and going for the Comet page, you can get access to water walking, has the tier 2 boots, immediately walks down to the bottom side of the river, using the entirety of the river to make use of that miniature room, gets himself a chunk, so there is no kind of contest coming in from LGD, and that means that LGD get early dragon, get early 3 grubs. And this bot-centric kill lane style with a jungler that clears quickly and ends up towards bot side is working out yet again for BLG. And LGD, they picked a snowbally bot lane themselves because they have a Draven. That's not really been successful.
Oh, Burdol going to go for an all-out in the top side. And Bin tries to just dive back through the wall, forced to flash. Burdol nicely played there, but Burdol had to flash as well to deny that. Bin has been caught, will be put to sleep. Meteor is here to finish the job. There's a kill into the pocket of Meteor as he potentially looks for Knight as well. That's an answer from Knight, and I think Knight wins these. He's looking for the 1v1. Meteor realizes he's got to get out of there.
Lucky that Knight did not have the fate sealed for the extra burst. Meteor still walks away with a second kill of the game, getting ahead in individual gold compared to Shun, and the Lilia will be an important team fighting tool for LGD to rely on. Meteor on the AP carries has been so powerful in this split for LGD, one of the reasons why they have become a contender as opposed to just another team within the LPL in these groups. They're already through to that Group A, and a lot of it is due to this power the team has found out of the AP carry picks.
Haichao going to grab a couple of plates in the mid lane off of the back of Knight's roam up top, so we'll actually have a minor gold lead for himself. All things considered though, in terms of gold leads, if you take a little gander down towards the bottom side of the map,
I would like not to. That displeases me.
That's a lot of gold in Elk's pocket right there. That is very, and that's against a Draven.
Yeah, he's already got tier 2 boots and is almost a first item. Shaoye is almost a full item, I guess, but he doesn't even have the boots. He's behind so much gold, and now Elk just gets run at them. I mean, yeah, how does Shaoye walk up to this? The plates are falling, JinJiao's down here. They have to call down their jungler just to get access under turret, and even that's being denied for them because, of course, mid and jungle for BLG adding insult to injury.
Oh, JinJiao's alone, not level 6. Goes for the flash, keeps himself alive for a second. On was tanking and backs away. JinJiao walks into the plants. I mean, stuck between a rock and a set of plants. I guess rocks and turrets are pretty similar. They're made of stone. That counts.
Hey, yeah, we could say it's stuck between a thorn and a hard place maybe in this one. JinJiao learns how spiky they are the hard way. Now, Haichao does get 3 plates in the mid lane, and Knight will lose a wave for that one. Also, hard trades back onto Knight on that side. But the thing is, Knight has always been a player that's happy to just drop a wave and make a play somewhere else. Now, typically, he doesn't drop as much CS as this one, but hey, it has been now unlocking a win condition. That gold lead, which was what, 1.5 and slightly more than that for Elk, is now 2,500. He has almost 5,000 gold at this point of the game. That is utterly ludicrous. BLG just going to rotate them around to another place that they can take plates elsewhere on the map, and this problem is unlikely to get resolved anytime soon by LGD.
The crazy thing is, it's not even the lethality Kalista or anything like that, which you expect to kind of get ahead during the laning phase and zone really well, etc., etc. Like, typically, Draven is a Kalista counter. This is something that people pick into the Kalista to stop Kalista doing this sort of stuff. But when Shun is basically a third participant in the lane, it becomes incredibly difficult to contest. Not to mention the level 1 shenanigans from Elk and On to chunk them out and start the lane off in such an aggressive way. It's a fantastic start in the bottom side for BLG, and I mean, if there's one team that could snowball from bot lane, it's this team. Absolutely.
You know, I think that BLG, they've come under a lot of flack for not being able to play through this bot lane in the same way that they did in Spring. I think Elk and On, they look quite vulnerable, actually, when their jungler's not in that lane. I think that when Shun has played towards topside or elsewhere, Elk and On sometimes miss the memo. They play as aggressively as they would do in this game, but without that jungle, and sometimes they fall apart. But this is why we respect this duo. This is why we respect BLG, you know, this homegrown talent, really, of Elk and On, working together with Shun as a 3-man unit. That's how they found themselves such dominance within the LPL in this recent history for them. And playing back towards that style again, this is when you realize maybe they're getting a bit more serious, because maybe they have been disrespectful in previous games in the group stage. This is anything but that.
I mean, this is the moment for BLG to turn it on, right? You lost game 1 against LGD. That is not a sentence that I would have expected to say, as BLG, really a team that we are expecting the world from. This is a team that we're, in theory, at the start of the split, we're expecting this to be another first seed, right? They won Spring. You assume consistency from a team, right? Especially a team that has been so dominant over the last 12 months. But the question will be, can they actually return to that form? LGD have looked pretty good within this group, now challenging them today. But like I said, if there's a moment to turn it on, going 1-0 down in this series is that moment.
So LGD, what are they going to do from this point? Your Draven is not a character at this point. He is a glorified ranged minion, and sadly for him, that is not that easy to deal with. Haichao is a little bit more strong, though. Activates that phase rush, bursts him out with the Eclipse, has a shock blast.
Oh, he's going for it. Oh, barrier at the last second from Elk. Nerves of steel from him. Will survive the play. Blame the Rune King, he's sticking around.
He's sticking around, yeah, thinking, hey, one more shock blast. He still dies. And Haichao ends up falling back just a little bit, maybe afraid, because there is no one. He has no vision on either side of mid lane, which is why he's really scared right now. There's one ward just on the backside of Red Buff, who is afraid of getting dove, especially since he just used that flash to get that kill. So shows good amount of discretion there to not walk up to the wave, even though there was a kill opportunity onto Elk.
It's a 5,000 gold lead to BLG. 13.5 minutes into the game.
You're very, very perceptive. I have chosen to ignore this because it disgusts me. I look at this gold lead and I think, oh yes, BLG, they do this sometimes.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. 6 Grubs as well, 2 Drakes as well. I mean, everything. Literally everything, aside from...
This is only making me feel worse. Knight is going to get forced out, though.
Yeah, just immediately blast the ult Haichao TP to try and make that play happen. Knight does have his TP available, so could rejoin elsewhere on the map, might just TP back up to this top lane. We'll see if he does commit. Yeah, we'll just go back up there, make sure that someone's there to catch the wave, but also make sure that he's here for a potential Herald play. Burdol looks for Bin once more. All Out comes into play. Bin, I think, is just going to try and escape from this one. Has that flash available, uses the flash before diving through the wall, and it means it can't be blocked.
So LGD, after failing that play topside, realized, okay, probably can't fight for that Herald and look for a play bot side. Sadly for them, can't take down Bin on the weak side of the map for BLG. I think this has been one of the best factors of BLG is the fact that while Bin has been a... so many Bins.
This is a hard sentence.
He's such a great strong side player on... He's going to be safe. All right. Yeah, since that he's so good on weak side, it allows BLG to play towards their bot lane. It is a bit of a shame because it means that we see less of Bin on carries because he's the better weak side player than Elk and On are on the bot side. He can still give so much value to his team in moments like that. Knight
Knight
might have overstayed in his own right. I don't really know what he's doing here. He doesn't have teleport.
Yeah, this
He's,
is...
execute maybe?
This is a little much. Whirling Death doesn't quite hit. I don't think he'll be able to get the execute though, because there's a flash up for JinJiao, worst case. And there we go, CC lands. In the meantime, Herald slammed in the mid lane. BLG trying to find things elsewhere as Knight just gets absolutely thumped in the top side. Burdol trying to capitalize on something. Actually flashed away. I'm not sure he needed to flash there.
I think, was he flashing out of the roots from Zyra? Maybe that was the case, because if that was the case, yeah, being stuck in the thorny patch is probably not the most healthy thing for Burdol. Doesn't have any magic resists, and Shun is very strong right now, so maybe that's the logic. Zyra, as soon as you hit Pen Boots plus Leandries, does unspeakable things to most people, especially if those plants survive through the initial confrontation. Elk on walking towards topside, they might be able to catch Haichao. Doesn't have flash, yeah, they catch him.
Knight, Haichao sees what Knight was doing, and he's like, you know, Knight, you're one of my idols. Anything you can do, I'll do as well. On may have overstepped for this one, as the TP is actually cancelled. Now it's a 2v2. Meteor trying to get onto Elk, but he cleanses away from the dot there, so the sleep won't come on through. Hostile takeover hits as Meteor trying to get the damage in again, but the rend is stacked up and Elk survives. He looks for a second onto JinJiao, and now 1v1 with Shaoye. He's so far ahead, and the reinforcements arrive. Barrier once again. Elk is king of the bot lane.
Did we just forget what BLG did to every team within Spring? They snowballed through bot side, and it just doesn't stop. Elk and On take a magnificent fight in the top side, and LGD, they commit teleports to this, they commit members to it, and they all fall by the wayside. Yeah, you do get, you know, like, one kill onto On right somewhere in the midst of it, but I mean, the teleport stopped, and they don't manage to kill Elk. All they do is feed more into this Kalista. Yeah, Haichao has no flash. He's not making out of this one. Great understanding of Elk and On to understand they can go towards that. Bin stops the teleport on the other side, so he won't enter the fight. And Elk just keeps activating the Rens. He gets himself that press the attack. The Mikhails comes through to stop the Lily asleep. Good hop out at the end of this too from the Swell Seed, so the burn stops ticking after a while. Look how he plays his ranges. Not a single Lily ability hits him after the initial part. Has the barrier beyond this too. It ends up being, what, a 4-for-1? Out of one punish in topside? Only BLG can do this.
It's an unofficial quadra kill as well. He got all 4 kills across the play. Absolutely magnificent performance out from Elk and On there as a duo. The Mikhails, like you say, absolutely perfect. I'm going to be honest, when I saw the cleanse come through, I thought it was a little bit early. I was scared because, you know, you can cleanse the initial dot before the sleep if you do it a little bit too early, but Meteor slammed that ult immediately. On has a keen eye on the situation and did it just perfectly to get rid of the sleep before it even came through.
Yeah. Saw that Knight lost his flash by finding JinJiao in his own jungle. Knight's had a weird summer so far. I'm holding judgment on him because again, the games haven't meant that much to BLG. I think they've assumed they'd get through the group stage just fine, and largely they have. I'm just holding some judgment on him though, because it has felt like a couple of games Knight has just played a little bit lackadaisically and had moments like this where he's randomly blowing flashes, getting caught in side lanes. I would quite like to see him shake off that tendency sometime soon.
Well, you're going to be waiting a long time, buddy, because guess what? Top esports Knight, this is standard play for him. Even in pretty big series, we've seen some crazy stuff from Knight over the years. And the crazy thing is, sometimes he just gets away with it. That's how good the guy is. But we saw him a little more disciplined on JDG. I feel like that's starting to wane a little bit here on BLG. I don't think he's getting worse as a player. I think he's just revealing his true colors as a purveyor of mojo like myself.
We're just having a little bit of a modern learning update for him as a player. You know, for myself, I mainly saw him on that JDG roster, so getting to return back to his old ways, maybe it's a bit of a learning experience for me. Bin is currently at a 1v3. Has he spotted this out correctly? Gets blocked by Haichao.
Okay, flashes over the wall towards enemy territory. I'm not sure he's getting out of this one.
Baron's getting started.
Just dives on top, Impale onto 2. He's surviving for so long in this play. Baron is just spawning.
It's Zyra.
And
it's
that's
20 minutes.
Zyra. So many plants on the scene already. TP into the top side from Haichao. JinJiao is here as well. BLG, they don't get away with this one.
If that play happened in bot side, about 10 seconds later, the Baron is gone. However, LGD, they time it correctly. Just before the Baron spawns, they can get the kill onto Bin, get his flash and his ultimate, and stop the Baron being started on the other side. So, Walls are going to get cleared. I mean, they're still here. Meteor's coming out of base, has Leandries, gets himself an item break point, but can they get here on the back of these raids? Resets, the plants are back.
The plants certainly are back. They're just going to try and burn it with everyone here. Actually using the Zyra ult just to buff up the plants. They're going for it. Burdol's there. Meteor's not in the pit. That's Baron taken. And now the plants can change targets onto LGD, who are desperately trying to get into the mix. But they're coming in one by one, separated in the fight. Burdol trying to find more, but Knight dashes apart and takes him to pieces. Good shot from Haichao on the backside of the play. But that is all LGD will find. 3 kills and a Baron for BLG. They might just look for more as well. Meteor found by Bin here. The slows are in. Knight finds it with the fate sealed in the end, and Haichao is left alone.
Okay, yeah, maybe BLG are a bit angry. They lose the first game, probably just lost their own mental just a little bit in that game one, but they're well awake in this one. Such a good snowball, such a good play around the Baron. Some lazy resets from LGD have just snowballed into oblivion.
He's gone. He's gone. There's a kill for Bin as well. A little bit of a consolation prize for all the weak siding he's had to be doing. Speaking of weak side, though, he's still 2,000 gold up individually somehow.
Yeah, this is the good thing about Bin. He can be weak side all you want. He's still going to win that lane. Burdol, he's no slouch from a player himself. He's had a difficult summer. Bin has really taken it to him in this game. And you're absolutely right in regards to what happens in this team fight. The ult was used to reset the duration, give the extra attack speed and HP to the plants. But it means that once you go into the enemy team, once the Baron's gone, those buffed up plants are then attacking you. Shun has so many items, and yeah, they just go into the Poison Garden, and they vastly lose in the damage race. BLG walk back out onto the map. They have a Terminus on Elk already, 5.5k up. Elk, he wasn't even the main player in that last fight, but he will certainly be now if he comes into a fight.
Honestly, looking at the gold difference between AD carries, you would think that Shaoye is playing center. He's playing Draven, and he's 5,500 gold behind Elk. This is absurd. As BLG with Baron now trying to pressure multiple lanes. Perhaps Knight has been found out here. Fate sealed. Not going to be available, and actually comes out. The face seal comes out to Burdol. In the end, it does trade, and Burdol dodges away from the stun from Bin. In the meantime, Elk trying to get onto JinJiao on the opposite side of the play. Bin gets the kill onto Burdol. Overall, a 1-for-1.
And once again, Knight just having some shenanigans on his own lane, having some fun. It ends up being a 1-for-1, sure. I guess that ends up being okay for it. Shaoye, he's got no mana either, no flash, no cleanse, probably no life.
I don't know if he's getting out of this one alive, as he just gets slowly but surely battered down, cut in half by the chainsaws of Bin.
BLG just don't stop either. They get themselves kills in mid lane and bot lane. Yes, they lose Knight, but, well, whatever. They got so many other people alive. Just whatever, small thing. And they get themselves Infernal Soul right at the end of that. It feels like a small thing. There's been no fight over it because they've just brutalized a couple of lanes just before this. LGD, they are really struggling to come up with counter punches. They get something, they get a couple of camps to Meteor on one side, but Meteor, despite him being such a good player for LGD in summer, I think his AP carries have been fantastic. His Brandon in the last game was instrumental to their game 1 victory. He has been outclassed by Shun on the Zyra so far, looking so comfortable on that pick.
Both Shun and Elk this game just looking far and away better than their counterparts. I think Om's had an admirable game as well. Bins look great. Knight, you just, you know, maybe
he's had one.
Better look next time, mate. Better look next time. Yeah, but BLG, perhaps back. Perhaps back. It does feel like they've sort of turned it on this game, doesn't it? We'll see what will happen in Game 3. That's assuming we get to Game 3. It's not technically over. It's feeling very over. It's 13,000 gold in the lead for BLG at 24 minutes, which is about as over as you can get at this point, aside from just ending the game. But perhaps LGD have more in the tank for Game number 3, especially with Fearless Draft. You never quite know what's going to happen.
Yeah, they won't be able to play any of these champions again. You can play this stuff with the enemy teams played throughout the series, but nothing you've picked yourself. BLG, this will, of course, be their last series of playing, and LGD, their last series of playing Fearless. Goes back to standard draft in the next stage, so this is the last chance to show your learnings on this format. BLG pushing in for the killer blow.
JinJiao, Chung does have the Unbreakable Will, but actually just flashes to get onto the Nexus. Heal himself up. And now, the last attempt for LGD. 2 inhibs are down. They clear away the minion waves. Supers are still a while away from arriving, and I don't think BLG will really be able to continue just sieging here. With just one wave of 6 minions, that will just be cleared by LGD.
Yeah, particularly with bot lane pushed out, LGD don't have to worry about that one. They can play on a slightly narrower battlefield, and they can look for some poke from Haichao. Haichao still does some damage, but it's just not enough damage against most of the members. But BLG will decide their discretion for once is the better part. No, they won't. They want to take the ults away.
JinJiao core on, gets onto the blast cone. He's on the wrong side of the wall and has to flash it.
Nice!
Blast cones himself into the enemy, or maybe it was On that hit it. The emote comes out from On, which makes me suspicious. Knight has to use that face here. Right. Everybody gets out, but that felt nicey.
Folks, what's happening here? BLG, they've had a rocky relationship with blast cones in this group stage. Folks, if anyone missed the game where we went Nexus to Nexus multiple times against WE, part of that was through Elk hitting both of his teammates into the enemy team. On decides he's learned from his AD carry. Surely, this is the way to play around blast cones, because yes, they do end up getting JinJiao's ult out of him. Get over the wall first, and then what the heck happens here? Flash is over.
Oh, it is Knight.
And it's Knight that does it this time. All right, okay, so it's not the emote from On. He baited us in with that one as the flaming alien comes up and explains his opinion on the situation. It's Knight. He was the culprit this time.
Knight with yet another moment of happy gaming in this series. It seems to be his motto at this point. Baron spawned onto the map, and we know Shun will happily just start that one off if he sees an opportunity to do so. Bit of damage onto JinJiao, who is trying to get some wards in, but Bin, in the meantime, has found Haichao. It just feels like BLG are poking at every single angle simultaneously. Bin is just winning the 1v1 against the enemy mid laner. The flash doesn't even save him. Bin practically solo kills Haichao. And in the meantime, Shun has just started soloing Baron.
Can he solo it? So he has himself pretty much max plants available, uses the ult again, but they're going to run out of duration. He'll get it to about half HP. Folks, I think someone has to go help him.
No.
Still on it.
I mean, he'll survive, right? The plants will just keep going. He's got Infernal Soul. He could do this. Elk's going to ruin it, but Shun could have soloed that. I'm confident.
There it is. Shun takes the Baron pretty much all on his own with the help of course, his photosynthesizing friends. BLG go in towards the Nexus. 3 inhibitors down for LGD. Teleport in. This should be it.
BLG are just another breed, aren't they? Shun solos Baron while Bin is solo killing the enemy mid laner. And that'll be 3 inhibs. That will be the Baron buff minions. JinJiao on a blast cone flank of the century, but I'm not sure he's finding anything on this one. His Knight just looks for the 1v1 on the enemy Alistair. Haichao gets back onto the fountain, only just Burdol trying to buy space for his team. LGD desperately fighting one last fight. The hostile takeover denies any follow-up from Meteor's ult, and the impale means you can't even hide on the fountain. Nowhere is safe against BLG.
Look at the smiles on the faces of BLG. Shun, I think he heard about the Elden Ring DLC. He decided to bring it to League of Legends, and he takes on the moniker of Let Me Solo Her. For the Baron, takes it down by themselves, and that was just BLG losing a single game, and then just unspeakable violence happens in game 2. What the heck happened there, LGD? That was a demolition. A demolition, that's the word.
That was a demolition.
Demolition.
Right, okay. Yeah, that was a massacre. That was an absolute massacre. That was BLG doing BLG things. And making LGD feel like a team much lower in the standings than they are. Remember, this is a team going into Group A. Elk gets himself the MVP. I mean, he was 7,000 gold up individually. That is just obscene.
Yeah, I mean, Elk got played towards in the early game, tons of resources into him. This is a very similar style to when BLG were absolutely unreal amounts of dominant within the LPL. They would gang towards bot side very early levels, they'd brutalize the early levels of the game, and then suddenly Elk has so much advantage in individual gold that he can run over the entirety of the map. Now, I don't think BLG have played towards this style that much within summer. They haven't really been prioritizing that style. They've been playing towards Bin a little bit more, but still a look towards a bit more of that spring style from them, and LGD were not prepared for that at all.
No, they were not. They were not ready for full BLG in game number 2. And that means we get a full series to round out today. We're going to jump into a break, and then we'll head into game number 3. And